The ideas expressed on this podcast are our own and do not reflect the views or opinions of any current or previous employers. Welcome to the Construction Management Podcast. Hey, listeners, we have been asked, Jason and I have been asked by multiple builders all over the country if we had been contacted by anybody looking to get into construction or looking to move from one company to another if you're a seasoned person in construction. If you live in the United States and you are looking for job advancement or to move or to get into this industry, to get into the construction industry, send your resumes in to info@buildertactics.com. We have had multiple builders from sea to shining sea ask us if we had anybody reaching out to us about resumes or about employment. Anyway, if you're looking to get into the trades or to building or whatever, send us your resume. Chances are pretty good that we've got somebody that has reached out to us and we can pass your resumes along. Also, remember to jump on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, follow the Construction Management Podcast. Check out buildertactics.com. We've got our digital download on there. The manual is on there. I have been asked multiple times for our hard copy or paperback copy of the manual. You have to go to Amazon to get that. Just jump on Amazon, search for Builder Tactics, and the book will pop up. It's $20. It's the cheapest Amazon would let me charge for the book. I don't make anything from it, so don't just jump on there. If you want a paperback so you can write on it, go to Amazon. Other than that, enjoy the show. Thanks, guys.
Well, I got in trouble in the Navy repeatedly.
I got in trouble sometimes in the Army.
I remember they said...
Guess what? Background check, Lee?
I remember I got busted drinking, leaving a bar, and they said, by the time I got the captain's mast, they're like, how old are you? And I said, 21. And the guy was like, what? Well, you're the kind of guy that's going to buy alcohol from minors. I was like, I'm not here because I bought alcohol from minors. I was a minor. And he was like, oh, you're restricted to your barracks for one weekend. Get out of here. And I was like, okay. How'd you like those the ISO tunes?
I actually have them in my truck. They're awesome.
They are awesome.
Like I said, I haven't had a chance to be in a needing to control noise scenario yet.
Yeah.
But I've used them, and I've definitely they're Bluetooth, they're wireless.
Dude, the sound quality is really good.
Sound quality is great. It's
and if there's anybody that knows sound quality, it's you and I.
Oh yes, of course, because we're so technically savvy with all of our perfect setup for our podcast.
Well, they're good, man. So, and there's a clip. So the one that so you got the ISO tune, the freeze. Mm-hmm. So they're just like I would compare them to AirPods,
right?
And then I've got the ones that are actually tethered together, but there's a clip on the back, so I can clip it to my hard hat.
Oh, that's cool.
So if I'm not wearing them, if I want to take them out of my ears for whatever reason, I just let them dangle. And then
are they the kind that have the magnets too? Because I'm pretty sure that you can either put them in your ears, or you can clip them to the front so they're up and out of your way too.
Oh, I don't know.
I was looking at the website on that pair, and it's some pretty cool stuff that they've designed. The idea is they can hang around your neck when you're not using them.
I don't know if they have magnets on them or not, man. That would be cool.
It depends on what pair they are.
No. Really? No. But they have a clip on the back. Oh, I knocked the clip off. Oh. But they had a clip on the back, so I could hang them. I could clip them to my my hard hat and just let them hang. And I can just stick them back in when I'm going into the house.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. The sound quality is really good.
Yeah, I'll say that mine are too. I feel like it's a cool product. And, there's a lot of guys out there with their headphones on the job site.
AirPods, dude, I see them all the time.
And it's not doing you any justice because it doesn't have that rating on them to protect your hearing.
It's funny.
Which is the whole point.
Dude, every time I see it, I want to tell those guys, hey, man, get the crap out of your ears.
And they're like, huh?
Yeah, they're what? I'm listening to the Construction Management Podcast. I can't hear you. No, but it's cool. They're a great product. When I first tried them on, I expected them to be eliminate all sound.
Right, and it's not like that. You can still hear conversation around you.
Yeah, which is good.
But it's supposed to cut down that high decibel level.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
All in all, I think they're a good product for sure.
Definitely. Another side note, you mentioned listening to the Construction Management Podcast. I got an email today from Mitch from HDS Drywall.
Yep.
And I noticed in his email signature, there's a link to the podcast that
Get
we recorded
out.
with him. So he's sending that out with all of his correspondence, which I think is so cool.
That is awesome.
That is really cool.
Mitch just became my favorite person.
I know, I love Mitch.
Good for him, man. And I saw he's got that quality checklist now that he sent out as well.
Yeah, Mitch, the only problem that I have with Mitch is that he's really efficient and kind of is a pain in my ass.
Son of a bitch. Always expecting to get paid.
Yeah, I know. He's like trying to get money for stuff.
God,
It's
what a
like it's
jerk.
such a pain in the ass.
Today we're talking about quality control, because here's the thing, and not just quality control, but like how we our interaction with quality control inspectors. Because here's the thing, for years, somebody would come out to my job site, whether it was their specific job to be a quality control manager, or they were just pointing out something I missed, or they were a building inspector or whatever. They'd come out and they'd say, hey, this wasn't done right. This needs to be better. And my reaction was always, F you.
Yeah, damn it.
Who the hell? Oh my God.
You know how hard I worked?
That's it.
Right.
That's it. I would always be like, F you. You have no idea what I'm going through out here. I've got 30 houses going, or I've got, 50 apartments or whatever I'm doing.
That's your natural reaction, right? To
Yeah.
feel like that.
Yeah, I'm like, who the hell are you? And for years, I had always had this like antagonistic relationship with building inspectors, with quality control guys. If my manager would come out and point something out, I'd be like, who the hell do you think you are? But I think as I've gotten, I don't know whether I've matured, I've gotten smarter.
I mean, I think that either of those is a stretch.
I know. Maybe I read it in a book somewhere.
No,
but
you learned, basically.
Well,
throughout this whole process. Like, does that actually help you to be upset?
No.
I mean, does it
Never.
even really matter how much other stuff you're doing besides this product we're here to inspect today?
Well, that's the thing, and it wasn't until like maybe a year ago that I kind of changed the way I think about it. And now I actually look at it as what it is. It's like an extra set of eyes. It's somebody helping me make a better product,
And furthermore, it gives you like a checkpoint for before you present that product to who actually owns it, right? I mean, most of the time the inspector that you're talking about is like if it's residential, it's a private home inspector, or it's a QA inspector, or it's a final readiness inspector of some kind. And those are all in preparation for the customer. Right?
Yeah. Well, you remember I told you that story about when I was building apartments, and the maintenance guy was the final inspector.
Right,
and I was always like, I hate your guts.
Yeah.
And we would go back and forth.
Idiot. What are you trying to make it good so that you don't have to fix everything?
Like, you're making my job harder. Who cares if the drawers don't work? So I was constantly fighting with that guy. And it wasn't until I realized, hey, this guy is looking out for the people that are going to live here.
Totally.
And himself, because he's the one who's got to do the maintenance, that I actually started getting along with him. And, I have, every big builder has a department that's devoted to quality assurance, right? Where they come out and they look at the product and they say, hey, this is good or this is bad. And for years, I was like, don't you dare tell me it's bad. I'd argue with them. You don't know. But then, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I totally remember this myself. Getting inspected by who's now our like regional president or group president.
Uh-huh.
And I remember him, him even being like, dude, I could see that this bothers you. Like, it's part of both of our jobs to like check on things and to tighten stuff up. And I'd be like, well, I still don't like it.
Well, at least he realized it though. At least
it's because you can see it all over my face. It's like, hey, this door is like loose and making a rattling sound. And I'm like, oh,
you're like, I hate you. But no, that's good. It's good. I know who you're talking about. Right. He's a really good manager.
Super good manager. And he was totally right about all things. That's not what we're talking about.
But not all managers or inspectors do that. Some of them just want to fight back with you. Like I used to have a building inspector who would come into the job site and he would literally mother F you. Like he would come out and he'd be like, "You stupid mother effer, this is wrong." And I'd be like, I mean, it was.
I would focus on ending that man's career.
Oh, dude.
Was it a man?
It was a man. This old crotchety son of a bitch. If he's listening,
he's totally listening. He's probably putting in his wireless headphones right now and listening to our podcast.
Yeah, I doubt it. Hopefully he's retired. But he was like that, and everybody you talked to that had to deal with him was like, God, this guy. And the only thing that saved, I personally believe, the only thing that saved his career with that particular municipality was that 9 times out of 10, he was right.
Yeah.
He went about it the wrong way.
Of course.
But he was right. So, and you know what that taught me though, because I knew it was going to be such an antagonistic inspection. I knew there was going to be F-bombs dropped,
animosity and all that stuff.
It made me, if I knew he was coming out,
Dude.
I mean, I would have a table set up, plans on the table, everything was labeled. I mean, it made me produce a better product.
It's just like when you were playing sports, if you're playing lacrosse, I played rugby, like the team that was the toughest and you hated the most, boy, that's the team you prep for. like you were like, it's coming up next week. Let's all like get in the gym and get stretched out and get practice in.
Dude, that's a great analogy because it's true.
It really is. You end up prepping. And, and also, this is something really I was thinking about earlier while you're saying it. It's funny how our analogies line up. There's the other flip side. There's the inspector that's coming out that is way overly lenient.
Oh, yeah.
And that guy will allow you to hang yourself.
Yeah.
Because what happens is, I remember one time, my old man used to work for the same company that we do. And he was very high up in the company. And this guy used to work for my dad. So he's doing my inspections now. And he was, and it was always like, me and Jimmy used to laugh about it. He'd be like, you can't allow your inspections to stoop to the level of the guy who's going to ask how your father's doing every time he stops by.
Oh, that's a good point.
And or the guy who gives you the thumbs up out the window as he drives by and he never even actually looks at anything. They'll allow you to hang yourself. So on the flip side of it is like, you can't let your guard down because the inspection's not going to be, that good or whatever, that thorough.
Yeah. Well, so that just goes into, so we have a lot of quality guys. And if you, I know guys, they don't work with us, fortunately, but I know guys that work for other companies that will have beaten down their quality inspectors to the point where they won't inspect. They'll come out.
Where they're not giving an accurate inspection.
Yeah, they're not, because they don't want that fight. They don't want that antagonism. So they'll just come out and, that's weird. I wonder what they're doing out there.
There's a class in the room next to us. This is a public library, so
I know. The worst thing about this public library is they won't let you drink in here. Anyway.
And you can't turn off the wind tunnel air conditioning system or heater, I guess it is.
I'll fix that somehow. Anyway, so what I was saying was, so then you don't get, A, you're not allowing that inspector to do their job, and B, you're actually going to produce a worse product because it's not going to be as good because the quality inspection wasn't done. I got into an argument with a guy, this is years ago. I was building these massive townhomes. They're 4,500 square foot tall skinnies. And the end units had a structural drywall and a very specific screw pattern. 6 inches on, it was 6 inches everywhere.
Lateral bracing or shear.
Lateral bracing or shear bracing or whatever. And my building inspector came out. So at the time, we actually had an engineer that would come out and do quality inspections. But I hadn't walked with him on an interior unit or on an exterior unit. Anyway, the building inspector comes out and he pulls out his tape measure. And he's like, hey, your screw pattern is off on this drywall. This is structural and failed me. And he goes, and not only that, when you go to add the screws, you're going to have too many screws and you're going to lose all structural integrity on this drywall. It has to come out. And I was like, you're crazy. I was like, what are you talking about? Drywall is not structural.
Watch me mud this drywall real quick.
I was like, you big dummy. You don't know what you're talking about. I went to war with this guy.
Right.
And then the engineer came out. He fails me and leaves. And I'm like, stupid, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm going to call his boss. I'm going to get this taken care of. But then my
engineer's like, I'm going to need you to rip that drywall down.
Oh, the engineer came out and he goes, hey, Damien, the screw pattern's wrong on this drywall and it all has to come out. And I was like, what? And he goes, this is all structural. And he opened up the plans and showed me. And I'm so arrogant at the time. The inspector is telling me this. Not once did I ever think, hey, maybe I should check.
Maybe I should look and see if it's listed right here. How the screw pattern should be.
Yeah. And I'm just like, you don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Building Inspector.
Yeah.
So, after I ripped out all the drywall and begged the guy to come back, I learned that, hey, if you're going to argue with a quality inspector, because that's what a building inspector is, you had better know what your details are. Otherwise, you're like an idiot, which is what I did.
Dude, does it make you nervous when your plans call for the drywall screwed a certain way so that it won't tip over? Like that kind of makes me nervous. Like I've punched through some drywall before, and it's not real sturdy product.
Well, it probably wasn't screwed 6 inches on center and in the plane.
Exactly.
I don't know. It
still makes me a little bit nervous. That's all.
Maybe
like, hey, you're counting on this drywall to hold this building up.
That's okay. Something's got to do it. I mean, all the studs and the
Studs
brick
and
and the
bricks, so yeah.
sheathing and all that. Apparently,
Ridiculous amounts of tie downs and clips.
Jake was telling me a story about a video that he saw where the building, they had hurricane straps from the truss, supposed to go from the truss to the top plate, essentially, were never nailed to the top plate. So this video, apparently, I haven't seen. He's supposed to send it to me. They've got high winds, and they're recording. They're on the second floor of the house, and they're recording the drywall. Every time the wind blows, the drywall cracks. And they're like, what is going on? So they call their builder the next day. The builder comes out, they remove the drywall. None of the hurricane straps were nailed.
So he's like, hey, you got to put the whole house together if you don't want it to blow around in the wind.
Nails are required in this house.
It's funny.
So, but that's just another example where somebody wasn't doing their job.
Well, it sounds like a few people weren't doing their job.
Yeah, in that case, it's a couple of people.
Well, and that's the thing. Don't hang yourself. I mean, it's up to you if you're the manager to get out there and make sure you got your hurricane clips nailed off. You're going to feel real bad if somebody's up there in their bed, sleep at night, and their roof goes blowing away.
And the roof blows away? Yeah. Dude, I had like one side of the house, all siding blew off. Terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah.
And probably for no fault, right? I mean,
it's just
you lost one
install.
piece and then they all started peeling.
I mean, it's a shitty install. I put it back together. I put it back up a couple of times,
Yeah.
and then we had a bad windstorm.
Oh, you mean at your house?
Oh, my personal house I live in.
Was there wrap underneath it when you got there?
Nothing.
So it's just plywood
Yep.
with siding nailed to it.
Yep.
Isn't it so funny because we talk so much about exterior envelope and
Yeah.
all the additional inspections and requirements and all this stuff, and truth is, like, most of the people in this country are living in a house with plastic siding nailed to their plywood.
Yeah, man. I could hear it ripping off.
Oh, no.
Gina was like, what do you think that sound is? And I was like, all the siding being ripped off the side of our house. It's like, I'll get to it.
You're like, don't worry, I'm ordering it on Amazon right now.
Yeah, I was like, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about
get
it.
everything there.
So, but anyway, so back to, the quality inspections. I really feel like, as the builder, as the person in charge, it's really important that we not take offense or get defensive
Totally.
when people are coming out. I mean, and don't get me wrong, there are better ways. Some people are good about it and some people are not.
Well, it's just like my opinion about some police. I think that some people join the police force because they want to protect and serve, and
Sure.
some people join the police force because they got picked on in school and they want to be a dick. And that's the case when you're dealing with any type of inspection in all cases. Like, are you here because you're trying to make us better?
Yeah.
Or are you here just because you're the guy whose job it is to point out anybody's flaws? Now, I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
At our company, at least in Virginia, our guy who does our QA inspections, his name's Paul. I'll just leave it at that. He's so good at his job, man. And he gets the concepts of the job too. Like, look, I'm not here to like call you out and make you look dumb. I'm here to specifically inspect your work and everybody else's work that works for you. And I'm going to tell you like it is, because what our goal is to build high quality homes. And, I'm the last set of eyes to make sure that it's presentable and essentially graded so that we know how everybody's doing. And he does a really thorough job. And I think we've talked about this on the show before. Like, the comments from, first of all, every construction manager responsible for the product is going to, work to build a good house and take offense when somebody points out their flaws.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you hear, Paul comes out here and he's looking behind the toilets to try and find like little nicks in the paint and caulking missing and adjustments, and the tile is like barely off a little bit and he's marked it up like it's a fail. And then I say, you building better houses now? And they're like, yes. Because the truth is,
the name of the game.
It's the name of the game, man. And you know what? It's easy when you're responsible for a whole rack of construction and you only have this one that's finished to be in your own mind thinking, but I worked so hard to get to this point. And I remember assistants telling my former boss, you don't know what it took to get to this point, like we just said.
Yeah.
I did all this stuff. We were behind schedule and I pulled off a miracle to get to this point, and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, well, you're missing a toilet seat lid here, and you didn't hang the mirror in the powder room. So that's what we're talking about. I'm really proud of you for all the stuff that you did do.
Attaboy.
But these two things are still not done.
Yeah.
How can you be upset about me calling you out for that? You knew I was coming. I put it on the schedule weeks ago.
Well, that's the thing, man. I used to get super pissed.
Yeah.
Like, how
It's
dare
hard
you?
not to. Like we talked about, I think 5 shows in on this thing, you're judged. You're judged by everyone.
Yeah.
It's because you're building a product on behalf of on behalf of your company, using other companies to do it, and you're giving it to a person who's purchased it. And they expect it a certain way, and sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
And, it's easy
A lot
to
of
be
times it's
defensive.
hard.
It's really hard. It's a hard job.
Yeah.
And don't let us tell you that this is a cakewalk job where you get to show up when you want and go home when you want, and it builds itself, and you just sit back and set up your schedule and collect money. That is not the way this works.
Right.
Like, it's,
I'm with you.
It's a hard gig.
So I think the idea is then, I mean, and it comes with maturity, I think, but so I've kind of changed my mindset. So now when somebody comes out and says, hey, this isn't good enough, or this isn't done right, or whatever, I'm like, thank God that person saw it, because I didn't. And I'm mature enough now to say, I missed it. Thank you. Because now nobody's going to remember this little inspection. But what they will remember are 2 things. Either they got a great product at the end that's, there's no such thing as defect free, but it's pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Or nobody caught it, and I'm ripping this thing apart to fix whatever
and
it
risking
is that I
other
missed.
damage and timeline and intrusive
Because
inspections.
I guarantee you everybody's going to remember that.
Oh, everybody remembers that. Everybody remembers the 9 trips it took through their house that they live in to get something fixed because they noticed it late, because you missed it during the building process.
Yep.
I mean, nobody wants that. And I definitely remember my manager when I was coming up as an assistant. We had a warranty guy he could be hard to deal with.
Uh-huh.
And
Do I know him?
yeah.
Okay.
And he'd say, do you want him in here calling you out on this?
I know who you're talking
And I would be like, no. It's the last thing I want.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, of course. But that's the truth, man. Look,
And you're right.
yeah, I think I've said it on the show before, too. I got to stop saying that because I've said it like 5 times. But, if you're the guy who knows that there's like a busted piece of hardwood right next to a vent and you stand on it so that nobody sees it, right? Because everybody, everybody knows somebody that's like, oh, dude, there's a big hole there.
Your hand over the wall over a hole, and you're like, nothing to see here.
Right, exactly. If you're doing that because you're going to hide it so that you don't have to fix it, boy, you're the one who's wrong.
Yeah, you're the one who's wrong.
You should be standing on it because it's embarrassing that you didn't get it ready before today.
Yeah. And you
should put a piece of tape next to it and note it on your sheet so that you can fix it before the next meeting.
I'm going to tell you the truth, man. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and there were times where I was that guy. I'm like, ugh.
Dude, come on. Like, we've all been in between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I built houses in 2003 and 4. I mean, that was nuts time.
It was a crazy time to be building.
I definitely remember running from home to home,
Mm-hmm.
fixing stuff myself,
yeah.
screaming at people because I didn't have a choice. I was going to fail.
I remember trying to justify to a mutual manager that I needed to buy a cordless trim gun because it was easier for me to just do the work myself than to have the trade come back and do it. Dude, I would scream at myself for that now.
You would just destroy your own self.
I really would.
Like, what?
But
because you can't manage, you need to spend money on tools?
I just remember being so busy. I'm like, God, it's faster for me to just grab a tool out of my truck and just do it myself.
The truth is, it's faster to take the time now when you know you're behind, to take the extra time to get out ahead of your issues now and catch up on everything and even get ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, you're always going to be chasing your tail, man.
Always.
It just never ends, man. You're just a dog going in a circle.
Dude, and then when the quality guys come out, they're going to tear you to pieces.
Oh, yeah. And it happens from time to time, man. Sometimes you get busy. Sometimes you miss stuff. Sometimes you forget that the inspection is tomorrow and you end up calling your cleaners like, hey, please get over here. And then they clean and you find out that under that dusty floor, there's a bunch of damage in that place. And you're the guy who gets caught that day with his pants down.
Yeah, dude.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to the podcast today. We really appreciate it. We love the fact that you guys are listening, sending your comments, giving us reviews. It's fantastic. Please remember, jump on Instagram, follow us there, Facebook, YouTube, Podbean if you're listening to us that way. We love the reviews. They are fantastic. We're going to have another show where we kind of talk about them. Also, we have a live event that we're planning that is coming up probably within the next 60 days or so. So sometime probably in April, we'll get that out there. We'll start to put out the information about the live event here in the next couple of weeks as soon as everything's finalized. Also, the resumes, that's no joke. There's a ton of builders that have reached out. If you've got one, if you want to get into construction, you want to move to a different company or whatever, info@buildertactics.com. Send us your resume. We'll get them out there. We get asked all the time. We've actually passed a few resumes on already, but if you're interested, info@buildertactics.com. Send that resume and we'll get it out there. All right, that's all we got. Thanks for listening.